Thank you. Thank you, ObserveNow, for giving us this opportunity in this esteemed conference to discuss probably one of the most pertinent topics. You can't go to a conference on anything and not discuss cyber security, right? And we were just having a brief chat outside on what's a digital native today. There's nothing called a digital native. Everything is digital today, digital first world. More devices are connecting, through the WhatsApp university. I'm sure you'll get a lot of forwards saying in 1 minute what happens. About 100,000 Facebook posts, some 800,000 WhatsApp messages exchanged in a single minute. What does it all do? It brings you on the front page of a newspaper if you have a cyber breach. Look at what happened to 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐧𝐢. Public news, everybody knows the largest crypto exchange and the hacking and the breach that happened there. Star Health, right? And unfortunately, the world that we are living in, a single small breach and you will be the front page news of everything, because it's no longer that two devices are connecting. We're talking about IoE, Internet of Everything. We were trying to connect everything with everything, right? We had laptops, moved to smart watches, smart rings, smart spectacles, and whatnot, right? And the more data we connect, the more vulnerable we become. Every smart car has a chip embedded in. According to Gartner, embedded chip has about 8,000 vulnerabilities present in them. And imagine if somebody has access to that kind of data, what would happen? With that, let's start with a few introductions. Suhan, can you go first, please?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us here, and thank you for all the esteemed guests with me. I'm an enterprise architect. I look after the cyber security. We are part of the premium. We are a premium partner for Google from an organization called 𝐊𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐵𝑠 Solutions.
Hi, my name is Abhas. I'm part of sales team at Google Cloud. I manage select startup accounts in terms of adoption of latest technologies and making sure that it is always done in a reliable, secured, and the scalable fashion.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Jaspreet, and the organizers for inviting me. I'm Mohit Srivastava. I'm CISO and DPO with Perfio Software Solutions Private Limited. This topic of transformation, digital transformation, cybersecurity remains very close to my heart. Firstly, because I have been eating, sleeping, drinking cybersecurity. Secondly, we have been helping BFSI customers to automate on their back office operations, digitize and everything. So this goes very dovetail. It's a very dovetailed topic, very interesting topic to have at least listen to with the impaneled the panelist of mine. So yeah, that's me.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kush Kaushik. I work as the Chief Operating Officer at Scrut Automation, and for us, our slogan is all things InfoSec. So we provide compliance automation platform for information security and privacy, especially for SaaS organizations, which help them comply on a daily basis, face assessments which are more smooth, takes less pain to be compliant. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandeep Chhetri, and currently I'm running the business of TradeIndia.com. We are one of the largest B2B marketplace in India. We are a discovery platform, helping around more than 11 million SMEs in India to grow their business. With the vision which our Prime Minister has for Digital India initiative, we run with the vision of making SME digitally saksham. And we are currently present across everywhere in India, and getting a lot of tractions in terms of the SME perspective, but building three aspects of the business of SMEs. One is, giving access to market, access to technology, and access to finance is what we are working currently for the SME space.
Hello everyone, I'm Shiva Singh. I'm Director of Engineering in Moglix. So I take care of all the infrastructure applications and the security part of all the softwares which Moglix provides. So Moglix is basically a largest B2B e-commerce company which mainly serving manufacturing and industrial sectors.
Perfect, thank you. Suhan, your initial comments on the topic, digital transformation and cyber security.
Sure. I think we are in a very great time, to be very frank to you. I think this is the greatest time to be. I'll explain you why. If you see, I think 2 decades ago, we were at a position where India was trying to get all the hardwares and the softwares into the country. And the Prime Minister at that point of time had to physically learn the software technology to tell people why it's important. Now we are in a place, I think the day before yesterday, Narendra Modi, PM of the country, says we need to have a consolidated security structure, right? Look at just 2 decades. I'm looking at the word decade here. Just 2 decades back, somebody as Prime Minister had to influence everybody, and now the Prime Minister of the country is telling, how important cybersecurity is. I'll just take a step back, right? Now, why a partner like us, we are so focused on this? We have constantly seen that there are 2 kinds of changes happening in security. One, there was something called phishing attacks, which was happening on a corporate account. Now, everybody in their WhatsApp is losing money. People are clicking messages like, it has come from corporate to a personal, like my aunt, my grandmother, somebody who has an UPI account who's not aware of security is being attacked. So this becomes very important because now it's starting affecting the common people as well. Now, next decade, what is going to happen? Now, this is very interesting, and I'll let the larger forum to start dive deep into this as well.
Thank you. I think very interesting comments, especially around the common person, right, getting impacted. We've seen how digital arrest is probably the next big scam which is hitting everybody. And they're not, they'll not target us. They're targeting, like you rightly said, the common man. They're targeting old people staying. If you look at all SMS campaigns also, right, if you and I get a message saying our electricity bill not being paid and in 2 hours the electricity will be cut, it doesn't impact us, right? But if somebody old sitting at home in a remote village in Punjab, Bihar, somewhere gets such a message, it's alarm bells for them. Thank you so much. Abbas, your initial comments, please.
So, just building on what Suhan said, that and like you said, the scammers today are kind of targeting people who are actually unaware about the risk that they are potentially, brought up to. You just said, we are now immune to this because, the moment I will get a notification that my electricity bill is not paid, I will at the back of my mind know that, something fishy is coming up. I'm actually immune. The problem with India at this point in time is a lot of bigger strata is not immune to this. And this is where, as a tech platform from Google, it is our responsibility to make sure that this is happening. Also, it is responsibility for each and every one of us to make sure that we are educating, our near and dear ones about these scenarios.
So I think you used 2 interesting words. One is responsibility of the organization, but also self-responsibility. And,
right.
And we'll come back to that when
I'll just take a hinge on this.
Yep.
I'll give you, for example, many of us are already using Google Pay at this point in time, right? If there is a large transaction that we are making for a first-time user or somebody who we don't know, we will start, I don't know whether you have seen this or not, very recently you will start seeing a pop-up saying that, this might be a potential risk. There is a 5-7 second timer going on, just trying to make you aware. Only when you give a consent, this transaction is now
not seen that, but
right?
that's a very interesting feature.
So this is one, we even presented this when we had this Startup for India, wherein Ashwini Vaishnav was doing this, right? So this is just one Suraksha Kavach kind of thing that we are giving to, our users. And this is how we are naming it, Suraksha Kavach, when we are saying that, we are trying to make sure that such transactions are, as low as possible.
Perfect. Mohit, your initial comments, please.
So,
It's that in their WhatsApp.
So, digital transformation and cybersecurity, as I mentioned, it's something like, I'll try to draw a parallel. It's like giving the keys of a Porsche to someone, not even that person not knowing that how to safely drive that, right? Wherein cybersecurity plays the brakes of that Porsche, stopping you so that you don't crash ultimately. Gone are the days when cybersecurity used to be seen as an isolated issue in an organization. That, okay, if you happen to click on a phishing mail, probably a malware get downloaded and so on, and then that's done and done. That used to be the story long back. Now what has got extended to, your data would get leaked, you will be under the paradigm of many laws, you would be undergoing so many litigations. Not only that, your financial data would all get wiped out, brand image and everything goes handy. And we have seen in the recent past how those big names have started facing it. So cybersecurity has given many paraphernalias to different financial criminals. They use these vectors of cybersecurity and execute these financial frauds and all.
Yeah, cyber fraud has led to financial fraud
yes,
also.
These are kind of getting dovetailed with each other. So gone are the days that it used to be an isolated issue. It is a prevalent issue within the organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, but great point, right? And like you said, it could result in a brand loss, right? It could result in a financial loss. One of the recent public hacks, the company's share in half a day fell by about 9%.
That's correct.
And public news, if you go and Google what happened in Vodafone Greece 2019, their CISO committed suicide because of the devaluation of the share because of a cyber breach. The first public why cyber became cyber because of the Sony breach, right? The board members had to bow down in front of the entire stock exchange. And for Japanese, that is the biggest insult, right? And I think we have, all of us have various stories to share. Thank you, Mohit. Kush, your initial comments, please.
I'll echo the same points. As we are going digital everywhere, whether it's ordering food or traveling, anything, it's every time it's digital. So it's very important to have cyber security in place. We saw what happened when that CrowdStrike attack happened. So a lot of airlines, big airlines, they were like stranded, causes lot of image loss for the organization, lot of revenue loss. So it's very important to stay vigilant for the organizations, for general public, for everyone, whether it's my grandmother or it's my grandchild or anyone, everyone has to stay vigilant. Here I would definitely say the regulations in India need to be more stringent to make sure that it is taken seriously for the people who are committing the crime, as well as making sure people follow the rules and regulations which are there from time to time. I've seen many other countries coming up with various acts, but we in India are still lagging behind. For example, AI is coming in such a big phase in India, but we actually don't have any regulations right now. We have for US, which is NYC Act, we have the EU AI Act, we have the United States Act, which actually is for making sure that the innovations are not compromised through AI. So all this combined, I would say yes, with going more digital, cybersecurity is more important. Plus, one thing I would like to add, it is a matter of national interest. So if there is a breach of a very big telecom provider, it is actually going to be a problem in terms of national interest. So it should be taken seriously by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think while I would agree to a certain extent from a regulatory safeguards perspective, we may not be fully there yet, but I think a lot of industry regulations like RBI, IRDI, SEBI, TRAI are doing their best, including certain, right? And maybe, as a follow-up question, we'll ask everybody what do they think about the regulatory framework from a cyber security and privacy perspective moves. Shiva, your opening comment. Oh, you interchanged. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'll mostly talk about the cyber security from the perspective of a startup, because I come from a startup. So as a stats, if you see, most of the mid-sized companies only spend not more than 5% to their security for their softwares. If you go to mature companies, they spend approximately 10 to 12%. When I saw these numbers, I was not agreed to it at all, because I have seen startups are not investing any money or a very minimal investment in the cyber security until they face some threat or until they face some consequences related to any threat. So it's good that India has started bringing laws around that. I think till last 2 years or 1 year back, we have got the DPDPA law. So at least we have started bringing the laws. We have started thinking about the security, and startups are also started to realizing the importance of cyber security. So that's a good thing which is happening.
Perfect. And I think for a startup perspective, your everything depends on cyber. But you also have an advantage, right? Because you're starting from scratch. Unlike a lot of industries which are well settled, they have to rewire their businesses from a security by design perspective. You can benefit from it. Sandeep,
I'll just add one thing. So for startup, everyone can agree with me. If you ask who heads the governance, which is information security and privacy, it would always be the IT manager.
Absolutely. So in a startup, a single person is...
It has to be an organized, so governance structure, the governance team has to be organized, whether it is small or big, because if the loss happens due to security or privacy, it's a loss for the organization. Am I correct?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, please go
But
ahead.
I'll add to this after Sandeep finishes his piece.
I'd like to have a different approach here. Basically, today we are talking about businesses, but it starts for individual as well. Okay, because if you look at our children today, they are a digital first in a world kind of environment they are working on, they are living in. We spend most of our time in the internet today. Okay, so first everybody has to understand how vulnerable it is today. So the new Gen Zs of the world, they are very, very overconfident from the technology perspective. And when they're overconfident, they are losing their personal information. And just because of that, this vulnerability is there. Okay. Second, I'll talk about the SMB perspective. I believe most of the people sitting here are small businesses or, who are running manufacturing and so on and so forth. When we as a company talk to them that, hey, you have to invest in cybersecurity, they said, karna kya hai, matlab, First that belief, why should I? We try to tell them it's just like घर पे lock लगाते हैं ना आप, CCTV लगाते हैं, क्यों लगाते हैं? If you're doing that now, because today the businesses is, the first line of business is digital. Okay, everybody here may be replying to emails from here, maybe checking their, what is happening in the company sitting here. Okay, so if the first line of business is digital, cyber security is something which you should look at first, because there will be a lot of financial losses, not only financial losses, but data losses and all. And third part is from the enterprise perspective, right? Because they also feel this, ignore sometimes, maybe, Avas or, from Google team can, highlight more here, saying that even the enterprise, they feel like it's too much of cost to invest, okay, in cyber security, okay? And that ignorance ultimately, have huge financial loss, not only financial loss from the data perspective also, which is actually the oil for a company,
Yeah. So, very interesting perspectives. Two things I'd like to add. One is the first piece where you said individual. I think everybody sitting in this room is also guilty, right? If our kids achieve something, we click a photograph of the kid with the certificate. The certificate mentions the school name, the class, the section. How easy do you think it is to follow or track the child from there on? Almost 20 to 25% incidents in Bihar happen because people post personal stuff. And then we work a lot with respective police departments. So I can tell you there are so many cyber crimes happening where getting access to information is not difficult, not because the child probably posted something, but because the parents post unwillingly information saying my child went to a inter-school competition, this is his name, this is his certificate, this is where he's gone, or this is where he's going, which leads to that. And number three, from an enterprise perspective, very right, though we are talking about digital natives, But there are a lot of companies, board meetings that I go to, and they say, data le lega? Mera data वैसे ही सबके पास है. You know, they're like, my CRM is already exposed. So what will he do? What is the maximum he can do? But with DPA coming in, with stringent certain guidelines coming in, when you start looking at financial losses and then lawsuits by companies, and an enterprise doesn't work in itself, right? It's an ecosystem where all you're sharing data, all your business partners, etc. That's where the problem becomes much more complex. But let's start in the reverse order. Shiva, how vulnerable do you think digital natives are, and what advice would you give, 2 advices per person, to strengthen their cyber fortress?
Yeah, so to the digital natives, we do have a lot of apps installed on our mobile devices. So you need to think twice before giving each and every permission. So I do have a lot of apps which require some mail read permission because they want some maybe credit card statements to be displayed on your app. So we are probably blindly giving permissions unknowingly. So the education is more important, what exactly you are doing and how reliable that app and that company is, where you are giving that information. Second part, which cannot be solved by technology, but it can be solved by behavioral education, just like recent incidents in my company when we get the report that your organizational email, the password is exposed on some other websites. We said, how is it possible? They said they have created their accounts on some other website with their official ID, and they have
Use the same password.
They have put the passwords. Okay, that's in a person's hands. They can use the password. Then we said, okay, that password is exposed, not our organizational password. Then we came to know that it's a human behavior to use the same password everywhere. So if my password is exposed on some third-party website, out of 10, maybe 2 or 3 passwords will be same as my organizational password.
I'm surprised you said not all 10 will be same.
So
no, thank you.
Yeah, so this is the main point, which the 2 points when you are setting any passwords or any third party, do not use it as the same password as your primary account. And second part is while giving the permissions on the apps, you need to be very vigilant during that.
Sandeep, your comments, please.
So I'd like to add from the SME perspective here, because what I see, we have been working with almost so many 11 million SMEs in India. We see they are the most vulnerable here, with the phishing attacks or identity thieves or, malware and all happens, okay. So we as a platform, we have more than 50,000 plus websites for our SMEs. When we talk to them, that why don't we protect this websites with, 2-factor authorization? They are very reluctant. Oh, pehle to ye dalo, fir,
yeah, look at the token.
But that is very, very critical, and suddenly one day the malware happened because they got a link on the email saying, hey, you have got an invoice, please click there. And when they click that, it gets injected, and they take their whole device in their control and ensure that the website information, everything. Okay, and the worst part, what we saw was that customer was saving all their username, password in their draft. Typically, this is a user behavior, right? In their draft of their email, they save their passwords, right? And the hacker was able to get access to everything, and he hacked the whole website, okay? What I'm trying to say is, first, please have a 2-factor authorization in your platform, okay? Whether it's email or whether it's a website. Second, have a backup of all of the information which you have, because that should be a hygiene you should do. And today, platforms like Google or AWS, they give you a lot of such tools so that you can do at a very, very nominal cost, okay? Third, have a very, very, professional emails. When I say professional emails, use Google Workspace, It doesn't cost you more than 1,800 rupees or 2,000 rupees as a standard package. But Workspace has all the security which is required. Device detection, 2-factor authorization, spam control, phishing control, everything. Why do you have to spend so much, hiring a technology guy, to do that? Just go to Google Workspace, okay? So, and third most important, which Smith highlighted was, what to share digitally. What you need to share. We have to be very, very important here because we are very longer about using platforms like Instagram, Facebook. We are there in and out, day in and out. Maybe early in the morning, what we do is we might go to Instagram and see our information. What need to be shared? Do we share all the personal information there? So we share information about us, what we are doing, our date of birth. In fact, this has happened with one of our customer. In fact, he shared actual information in social media sites, and the identity hacker was able to get those details, and they all the payment links, credit card information and all, they were able to get it from there. Okay. So be cautious about it, what personal information you are sharing digitally, and these are things which I would
No, absolutely, Sandeep. I think the most important point you probably made was the end one, is that people don't realize it, but identity theft is real, right? And once you are victim to an identity theft, it will take years for you to, crawl back and get your real identity restored.
But
Your
on
comments,
on
please.
on a lighter note, Sandeep,
You
sir,
said
thank
Google
you so
7
much,
times.
for doing this.
Promoting
that was
Google
part of my
Workspace.
job. Yeah, so, it's always, music to my ears when I hear my customer being my, influencer. So thank you so much. You are actually doing my job. So
Thank you. Kush.
Yeah, and I'll extend the same comment again, and I'll keep it short. We are running out of time. You asked for 2. I'll give 1 for corporate and 1 for general users.
Thank you.
Just a brief background. So I was doing an assessment of a very large edtech company in India, and they told we have 800 servers on cloud. As an assessor, 800. The largest edtech company in India. You know the name now. I don't want to name here. They had 800. And do you think me as an assessor, I was puzzled? Why? Because they keep on spinning off new EC2 instances, maybe in the morning, shutting it down by the evening. So for corporates, it's very important to have security automation in place, which will make sure that your cloud is protected, everyone is moving toward the cloud. For general users, make sure you have two-factor authentication, make sure your systems are up to date, which help you in getting protected from the latest attacks which are happening. We have got so many AI-based softwares, especially the XDR solutions, which are quite effective, except for the last one which happened with CrowdStrike.
Yeah. Mohit.
So, Jaspreet, you asked 2. Probably I may land up telling many, so stop me where you want to, because there's no silver bullet when it comes to...
So let's talk about enterprises. I think personal, we
yeah,
all...
That's, I would... So on the enterprise side, again, cybersecurity is not a post-facto approach, right?
Thank you.
It is not a band-aid to be put on when the things go wrong, because then it's going to hurt most. So you have to look at shift-left strategy, how you're building cybersecurity in your processes, so that when your product hits the organization or the end user, their data remains protected. You need to own this responsibility of securing data of the end user. That's where I think the point also came up about the type of regulations and laws.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's needed, and also countries kind of moving phenomenally there and that side. One good point, one fact I'd like to put it across. On the organization and identity theft came up. So how many of you even know today identity theft is a history? Today your credit theft has started happening. Now what is credit theft? Because we are daily looking at this, and this is all happening with, there are websites who can create a bank statement which no tool can identify whether it's a fake or it's a genuine, right? They will put, Mohit Srivastava is a fraudulent actor, and I'll use your name, create a statement and submit, and I'll take a loan on yourself. This is happening. This is not theory. Every day we are kind of looking at that.
Yep.
Second, we had a word on AI, right? AI, advent of AI. I think maximum of us have used video KYCs,
Yep.
right? What about deepfakes? Where are we kind of stopping the buck now? Right, so there are solutions who can identify. So in total, if I have to zero down, the threat actors are also smart, they're moving fast, and they're keeping the pace with the technology. right? There are rainbow tables available. Today, I can break your password in certain minutes. Leave
Seconds.
aside days, leave aside years, in certain minutes. I can get into your account. This is, as we speak, happening, and we are seeing it day by every day. We are reporting to our customers. So up till unless cybersecurity is not the undercurrent of your product, you are doomed, you are deemed to run into a wall. If I
Perfect,
can
thank you.
conclude on that.
And just your point on deepfakes, 30 seconds. I was in a panel and somebody asked me, how do you detect a deepfake without any tools? I said, sorry, that's why it's called a deepfake. If it would be so easy to detect, then it wouldn't be called a deepfake.
So just
Abbas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just
Complete your
take
thought.
a quick minute of yours. It is very much possible to identify that. We are
Without-
identifying it today.
Without
Though I'm
tools.
not here to sell my product
Okay.
from that, but I'm just kind of telling you that.
Okay, so I think a lot is already said. We talked about multi-factor authorization, keeping our softwares updated. So I won't repeat the same thing. I'm also mindful of the time. But then 2-3 things that I would, kind of add on what is already said, especially in enterprise world at this point in time is, once you scale beyond a point, there is something which is already existing, which is called as cyber security insurance kind of thing that organizations should take. We have an offering called as Mandiant. If you are one of our users, and God forbids if you land up in such scenario, right? Insurance up to $1 million is what you get. Plus, we also then help you dig deep on, what was the threat and how this mishap happened. So that's one thing, and I'm not just coming and selling my product, but then I'm just saying that this is one feature of functionality that organizations, once they scale a point.
So let's ask them how many people have cyber insurance?
One in a room of, let's say, 70, 80. So that's the penetration that, we need. And we can really see, there's a big roadmap if 1 out of 70, 80 is having that.
And by the way, cyber insurance is not only about getting a premium or getting paid when you have an incident. They will also come and help you recover, and they will do a lot of other things to manage the entire scenario for you. Right from media communication to regulatory discussions, everything. So it's like normal insurance sounds. It's not just premium at the end of an incident.
And we did this for a ministry of government at this point in time. I would not reveal those details here, but
Sure.
then very recently one of ministry website was hacked, and then all the fumbles were happening. So we did investigate that, help them do that.
Perfect.
So that's a ready
Your points, please.
Assuming that, I like the point where you say that being this is a DN-centric thing, and sometimes there is 1 or 2 people who manage the entire IT and the security. As a partner, one of the things I would want all of you to know is, I know there are a lot of new things happening in security, but the fundamentals of security have not changed, at least as an approach for all of us to start. One is the NIST. NIST, I'm sure all of you know what is the NIST framework. It has not changed. Even if you look at the new SEBI, which got released in the August, it actually reflects what NIST told us, NIST. And the second aspect here is all of you who are wondering, how do I start a security practice? Because IT managers have to do so many things. How do you start? All the stories we've narrated is still what MITRE, M-I-T-R-E framework still follows. There are 12 different pillars and how people will attack. The entire story of how somebody would gain access and attack. And that principle has been there for at least a decade, I am aware of. There are minor changes happening. These are 2 things I wanted to highlight. The third aspect, we are all afraid of AI, right? Because what would AI do, In reality, I want all of us to visualize where is AI coming. AI is not parallel to our existing stack. In the sense you have infrastructure, database, and applications. Application talks to database, and all of them talk to the infrastructure, right? AI is coming right between the database and application. That's exactly where AI is coming. So now that means this AI, all you have to think about AI is in terms of security, it's going to optimize your existing, all the tools you're using right now, whatever tools you're using. It is as per the NIST, look at the NIST, plan as per the NIST, there is respond, protect and everything. Use the MITRE framework to realize where you are, what are the things that you guys have not covered. And your existing tools are already doing a good job of adding AI exactly between the application database, and they're accelerating. If you have not done any of these, let's start the journey now. That's something I would advise all the DN folks.
And what about the risks because of AI? Anyway, that's a separate, separate topic. Thank you so much. I think we are very close to the end time. Let's take one minute each and we'll start in the reverse order now. Let's talk about skills, right? I think one of the most ignored topics is how do you build cyber security skills, in-house, external, what are you doing? And any concluding remarks?
Sure.
1 minute each, please.
Sure, I'll do that. One of the key things I want you to tell you again and again is you're in the greatest time ever, right? Simply because earlier when we were looking at security analytics, that person had to look at all the logs and all of that, right? But with AI now, if you look at Google, Google has its own tool called �SIM, it's Chronicle. Now the AI does like you guys are all aware of LLMs, right? Now the AI looks at the logs and tells you that these are the things you can correct. You don't have to learn a new language. The tool also communicates you with plain English. That's how great. That means your whole reason to go to the depth of understanding the security has been reduced. You can leverage AI there. So my ask to you here is understand there are frameworks. Though cybersecurity sounds like a very generic term, NIST has constantly been the framework for all the government policy have taken. MITRE has been the way of how people attack. So if you know these things, whatever existing tools you're doing, AI has already come and reduced the gap for you to learn and operate or respond and protect and detect and all of that, right? So you're in the greatest time of ever. Just be mindful of all the things they've said and use the right tools.
Thank you. Abbas.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing. While skill or talent is something that Sohan covered, just one more practice as an organization we all should follow is have an assessment of vulnerability in our organization every now and then, right? So anything VAPT assessment or a planned downtime, making sure that we are restoring backups, all those things has to be followed to the T at least once or twice a year, so that from a governance point of view, you will always have a view that where are you standing, if such event happens, right?
Very important. You need to have a frame of reference,
right?
A point in time assessment. Thank you.
VAPT at least once or twice a year is something that is very important.
But the new proposed certain guidelines will also, at least for listed companies, mandate that.
Yes.
Yep, Mohit.
So just your question was on skills, that how ideally. So what I have seen normally, information security teams remain very lean in any organization, and they cannot be omnipresent. You have to start building a cyber aware culture within the organization. One. Second, gone are the days that you remain focused on just deploying the tools. Start automating. Right? I give a very quick example. There's a lot of donkey hours we used to put in about assessing certain logs and responding to my stakeholders, so on and so forth. Questionnaires. So because we handle work with so many banks and all, we undergo have to fill in more than 400 to 500 questionnaires in a year. This is not kind of adding anywhere in cybersecurity, at least for me. We automated that piece. We are saving on time. So because we have to work on a lean team structure. So automation, the keyword remains is automating the areas where you can, even on the cybersecurity side, if it is to be log assessment, we have reduced our false positive reduction by around 75% in our organization by automating things, by reading the logs rather than, so that's the today mantra of our thing when it comes to skill development. Start deploying the skills in your cybersecurity on these lines as well.
Superb, superb. And thank you for the tool piece, but also putting a process around the tool. A lot of organizations only put a tool. It's like putting a pacemaker and saying, आज के बाद मैं कुछ भी खा सकता हूँ, मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा, right? It's not that, right?
Very valid point. We have a 3-layered governance structure in place today. Anything goes. It has a filtration structure and everything. So thanks for bringing it up. It makes sense.
Thank you. Kush.
Yeah, I'll keep it short in the interest of time for everyone. When you talk for skills, I see two very important things to be in place. Number one is making sure that an awareness training on security and privacy happens, followed by an assessment or evaluation. If someone fails, make sure they are retrained. The second one is reinforcing the importance of security and privacy, which can be through phishing simulation. So most of the attacks which are happening is due to phishing, right? Someone will tell, some page will appear, there is an iPhone you can claim. So making sure you run phishing campaigns, and whoever doesn't pass, make sure they are again, trained on awareness, security and privacy awareness. So these are the two important things from my side.
Thank you. Sandeep.
I'll give some two examples here. One primarily, so on our platform, we process around 9 million requirements every month. Okay, huge requirement which goes to SMEs through WhatsApp, SMS, and email. Okay, so we have an automation in that. I agree with them that automation is very, very important. That ensure that those mails which are going, okay, go through our engine where we are not sending any search injected or source emails, through the platform. Second, we came across recently, where suddenly within 5 minutes more than 2 lakh OTPs were generated, and we immediately were able to control it because of the tools which Google and AWS had. We got an alert and we were able to see that which API exactly that was getting hit because of the tool. Okay, so this is the power of digital tools which is there. Finally, two suggestions here, which we also use in our organization is we call it a litmus learning in 30 minutes. Okay. Learning in 30 minutes, this awareness regarding cybersecurity, not only to our employees, but everybody should be there, because something can be restricted just because of the awareness, okay? And finally, think before you click. Today, everything happens on that link. Please think, once before clicking that link. Yeah.
Thank you. Shiva, your closing comments, please.
Yeah, so as you started talking about the skills which we should be building within the organization or not, it's not the sole responsibility of a single cybersecurity person or a team. It's a collective responsibility starting from the development of a software. Have you implemented the zero trust framework? Are your APIs secure? Are your inter-service communications are putting enough restrictions on authentication and authorization? Everything comes after that. While building the cybersecurity skills within the organization, it's your choice, and you can do the cost assessment, whether you need to hire an external vendor or you need to build an in-house. But yes, on yearly basis, get all the softwares, get VAPT done and all the cybersecurity assessments done so that you know where you stand, and then you start taking the actions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think to sum it up, cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility, whether it's a security guard in the office to the CEO of the company. Please give a huge round of applause to all my fellow panelists. They've been superb. Thank you.